Good evening, everyone. It's 10:41 p.m. It's almost 11 o'clock, about to go to bed. Of course, I've been listening to music all my life, to the music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And of course, one of the first artists I did on YouTube to impersonate was Minnie Riperton with her. Now, I think I'm still like an octave lower than her, but I'm working on it and getting up higher. No one else can make me feel the colors that you bring. Stay with me while we grow old, and we will live each day in the springtime. So, Minnie was one of the first people I was trying to teach to impersonate, and then I'd go to different artists like Tina Turner, or Etta James. At last, our love has come and gone. So, I don't know what you're talking about. And, now, like I keep saying, Daphne had no problem with me and Amanda. But what if Sal and his girlfriend did, call him my schizophrenia? I don't know. Now, if Sal and his girlfriend had a problem with me and my schizophrenia, I don't know what they would do with their daughter, but I don't trust them any more than I could throw them either. Now, if they were trying to prove I would do something to hurt the daughter, they could have coached her. I can't prove that, Daphne, or, I can only suggest it. But, like I said, someone is attacking me constantly on YouTube, and who else knew about us but them? I know. Now, could they have coached her to say grandma? Sure. They also knew she was living with their grandma for 2 years. It's not proof of anything, right, Daphne? But, who else could have put her up to it? I don't know. Unless you meant Marceline or something crazy like that. And again. And I'm being telling a joke or a sarcastic statement that could never be true, right? Because let's say we know there's no tape, because that would be pretty obvious unless it's from above or something. Now, all the tape from above would show is my head maybe bob up and down a little bit as I was seeing what was going on, and if she would let me get close to her. And I don't mean anything happened either. Now, if the camera was above, right, or to the side, you would see if I licked her or not, stuff like that, too. I know. You would know. There wouldn't be any doubt. Unless the camera was from above, I know. Then you wouldn't even know. But the question is, who would set up the camera anyway? Where would they put it so where we wouldn't recognize it, or something like that? I know. Would it be a government conspiracy? Similar to the novel 1984 as well, I know, where the government was coming into the private lives of their citizens, trying to control their behavior in an illegal manner through video. I don't know. But again, I'd be a little confused anyway if the child was even in there with me and would just be trying to figure out what was going on. Now, like I said, if the child felt violated that night, Daphne would have known, or something like that too. And you cannot have any kind of contact of a sexual nature with a child. For one, all females from 0 till they meet their first boyfriend and have sex are virgins, right? Right. No matter what that age is. Now, normally the age is what? Supposed to be in Georgia 16 or older. Though, of course, you can use it before that, but that's all up to the girl, right? Right. We all understand that fair and square by now, alright? Not only, if someone was trying to force me to be with a male, would we have a problem, or something like that. But other than that, there's no real proof, except for some strange details, that I wasn't in the car accident or the three-story fall either, because, this is some elaborate setup by little Roddy, who purposely wrecked the car. I mean, what else could it have been? And, now, of course, he could have, done that by putting a brick in the car and then putting my body in the car and put me in the seatbelt or something. I don't know. But that would be an elaborate plan. I don't know. Now, the reason he might would do that is we might have gotten into an argument or something over at Vivian's, but I don't know what it would be about, unless he got upset that I had sex with Vivian Starter himself or something. But even little Roddy knows I'm not generally promiscuous, but, you know, if he did, I would point out, well, you had sex with Terry, asshole, so fuck you. If Vivian's daughter like me, we had sex or whatever. Of course, it could have been Vivian whoever reacted, but, I mean, if she knew the girl liked me, she must also have accepted the possibility that we could have had sex or not. I mean, I'd tell her if she did get a little bit upset, that I'd just talk to her about it rationally if we did. And only thing she might think is maybe it could be, in her mind, you know, pedophilia, but it's not. Though, what pedophilia is where an adult over the age of 18 sleeps with an underage girl, under 16 in Georgia. Now, that's not a 16-year-old boy who's a minor himself sleeping with a 14-year-old girl consensually before he even turned 17. That's not the same thing, Vivian, or whoever. And it never will be, I mean, if you have to, call the cops and ask them, right? That's all I would probably try to tell her about that. That's if me and her had sex. And I don't know, other than that, what they're talking about. Like with mothers who had 2 daughters, now, yeah, they could have maybe talked me into having sex with them if they were being molested or something, but why don't I remember it unless the mothers knocked me out afterwards or something crazy like that. That was in 93 and 94. I met 2 different women who did have young daughters, but I did not approach the young daughters for sex, only the mothers, in both incidences. And I remember being with the mothers. Though the first girl in 93, she did put her vagina in my face after the, neighbor came over for some reason. Now, I never really pursued it, but I just tried to stop her like I, was supposed to, right? Because I can't consciously let a 12-year-old be with me, And I wouldn't, not when I'm awake. Now, she come in there to the middle of the night and she tell me she was being molested or something, that she was afraid she would be raped. Maybe then, I don't know. But I would try to talk to her rationally about it and try to get her to tell someone, unless you think they won't believe you or something. And like I said, unless she convinced me, that she would sooner be with me than him, and so what could I do? Only something like that might could have occurred. But then the mother would have to, knock me on the back of the head or with a pot or something like that, or a pan. And that's why I don't remember it, I guess. And I woke up anyway, But that still seems crazy, right? Right. Because normally blows to the head like that kill people, like a metal frying pan or something like that. whatever. And yeah, I might well say, well, I'm one of the 2 witnesses. If I don't die, I guess it was God's will or something. I don't know. That would explain the first little girl, I guess, why she put her vagina in my face, but I don't recall it, right? Which, that would be what I would tell her, too. If I don't recall it, I don't know what happened either. Unless she was wanting me to remember it. And did it when the neighbor was over there as a witness or something, that she liked it or something, but I don't know. But it was highly unusual unless she was already being molested, like I was telling you to begin with, for her to make a move like that. So anyway, that's the whole point there. Only 2 underage girls could I have even remotely have been with, and only if they talked me into it. Meaning I wasn't trying to be with them at all. And I felt I didn't have a choice because they were afraid they would be raped or something by the ex-boyfriend of the girl I met in 94, the woman I met in 94, who was in her 40s, almost 45, and she had a younger daughter. And all I did was read her a bedtime story, went in there with her mom, had sex with her as she was leaning against the stove in the kitchen, sort of from behind. Then the next morning we had sex again. That was it. But if they both knocked me out with a frying pan, that was the reason I don't remember. Hypothetically there. But I might even, say, well, if I'd remember, I'd have to tell the police on myself. Because I don't do that. And I don't know. I would feel very awkward in that situation anyway. But of course, if the girl threatened to do it or I scream, I said, okay, well, if you're that sure, or something, I don't know. But that would be blackmail on her part, not mine. I guess, I don't know. How would you describe all that? So I guess, if she did, I would, show her the ropes, whatever, kiss her and show her how to make love or whatever, and let her, the best I could. But that don't mean I would have a choice in the either. That would be more like her afraid that the ex-boyfriend could come back and rape her or something. And the mother not wanting me to remember it, so she knocked me out. That's what that would seem like there. But I can't prove it after what? That would also be about 23 to 22 years, right? For both of those experiences as well. And that was before I met Maribel, too. In 95. We dated till September of 96, and then she called me 3 years later like I even cared. And told me this bullshit story, and she kept insisting he wasn't my son, so I didn't argue. I didn't know. I mean, I never heard of a girl getting pregnant by a guy cheating on her while she was on birth control either, Maribel, so whatever. No, I didn't know what the hell's going on. I mean, that's the only thing I did different before I know of. Unless you got some bad birth control pills, what could have gotten you pregnant then? Me cheating on you with Michelle, not telling you until 2 weeks later, and then, you meeting Scott 3 months later, and, thinking it was his baby. I don't know. That's just a hypothetical, and not something I really can prove unless you give us both a DNA test, and you don't want to. I don't know. Or trying to convince him it's his, and he's believing it, and you don't want me saying it's mine ever again. But I did not make the rules of how a baby develops in the womb. It's just common to almost all the books I read, and even online. So that's not my fault. It's not your fault. It's just how babies normally develop. Even probably when the angels came down and had sex with the daughters of men and had giants, the giants' baby were probably born within 9 months too, and developed fuller out the womb. Now, I've heard of a woman having a baby of up anywhere from 10 to 13 pounds, right? So I think that would be the largest, right? A woman could actually handle. Now, the baby would develop even if it was an angelic baby or a hybrid, because the angel would have to become half human, half angel too. Because the point is, you cannot mate with something you're not of the same species as either. That's just sort of how it works here. In other words, you cannot produce a minotaur, which is a half bull, half man, because genetically speaking, the bull and the human being are not genetically compatible to produce offspring, right? Now, you can produce a mule from a horse and a donkey, but the mule is generally sterile, right? Right. That's all I know, Maribel. God. Now, I didn't ask you to call me out of the blue and tell me all the shit you tell me, and, about Patrick and Scott and all that shit. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know. I broke up with you because I was sick of the way you were treating me with Bart. Fuck you, bitch. And I'll say that to your face. Mm-hmm. And I don't give a shit if Patrick's on. I can't do nothing about it. You don't care. And, don't seem like Patrick or Scott cares, and you're content to think he's yours, right? I can't do nothing about that. I know many of dads, like Big Rod, raised a child that wasn't his. That's what you want to do, and you don't want to find out? Fine. I don't either. But like I said, there's reasons I'm pointing out certain facts of a relationship and how it normally works. Anyway. Wasn't as though I expected to get you pregnant, nor do I still think you're pregnant because you're acting crazier than me. I don't know. So is Scott, so is Patrick, without wanting a DNA test to confirm it either way. Y'all both being dumbasses by not doing that. I don't know. But if you don't want to, what? No one can make you. If you're sure, in your mind, who can say you're not? I know, right. And if you raised the boy, technically you're his dad anyway. I didn't have anything to do with it. So, same with Jonathan. I didn't raise Jonathan as my son because he was with his mother, Daphne, in Arkansas. I'm not, just as Patrick isn't my son because Scott raised him, Daphne raised Jonathan, who isn't really my son either because we didn't have a whole lot of contact. And what I mean by that is not biologically, but physically. Raised him. Now, a father is someone who also raises his son or daughter with the mother they conceived them with. Now, sometimes fathers break up with their wives, but I sort of had a good reason. Daphne was seeming to get increasingly, almost, in my mind, dangerously acting toward me. I don't know. Now, to me, it's dangerous to leave your husband who was going up to meet your parents, and simply because you were arguing about the mountains or something, or gas or whatever it was, and you didn't seem to care that he didn't have a dime, he didn't have any money, he went up there with you, trusting you that he would safely make it to Arkansas and back, and all of a sudden he couldn't, was left on the side of the road, at a gas station, and didn't know where the hell he was at. Called between Nashville and whatever the next state over is. I think it's Tennessee, maybe not Missouri, but what's the state there? I don't know, but I think there's another state, and then Oklahoma, maybe. I don't know. And then Arkansas, right? Right. Well, that's like when I took David to Oklahoma because he wanted to start living out there with Gwen. Well, again, I do stuff like that for my friends. Now, you call me and act like it's not my responsibility to know if Patrick is mine or not. You, Scott, and Patrick are just being mean as hell. Like I can do anything about it either way. But it don't mean I don't care about Patrick. It just means I feel like I'm at an impasse with you. Meaning you don't want to. So what can I do about it? I don't care. I keep telling you, you make me so afraid that if you were to find out, what would you do? Kill him? Seriously. If he is my son, what would you do about it? Kill him or something? That makes me afraid. That makes me afraid. I don't know about you, but some bitch call you up, 3 years after you broke up and tell you this crazy story that the baby was 4 pounds 9 ounces, and that something don't quite sound right there. So you go to the library and look up the information on the normal development of a baby. You say, well, you were on birth control pills, but maybe they didn't work sometimes. And I'll tell you the story I told you in my letters about while I was in the Navy, about a girl who started taking birth control pills, and she was on them for about 4 months and then found out she was pregnant. Because either she got pregnant shortly after she started taking them or something like that. But other than that, they generally work. Now, why wouldn't it work in September and not December either. But the problem isn't that. And if Patrick was more than, say, 2 pounds, that's your problem, Scott, or Patrick. No matter who you are, a baby only develops so much in the womb. There's no way a child can be 4 pounds 9 ounces after 5.5, even if you were to stretch it to 5 3/4 of a month, and not a full 6 as well. The most he would have been is what, 1 and, let's say, 12 pounds. 1 pound, 12 ounces, right? Because a full pound was 16 ounces, right? Right. Well, Patrick was 1 pound, 4 pounds, 9 ounces when he was born. Now, from the birth record of a normal child developing, that would put him in the 8th month, just by that knowledge alone. Not the 5 3/4 of a month, where his weight would have been about 1 pound 12 ounces. Now, once they reach that weight from 6 months to 9, that's when the baby starts really picking up the weight too. This is true, Mary Bell and Scott and Patrick. I know you don't like it, for all normally developing children. Now, you're trying to superimpose an idea that within 5.5 months, somehow Scott got you pregnant, and somehow his baby made it to 4 pounds 9 ounces. If any OBGYN or pediatrician told you that was possible, that's insanity on their parts. Because that's not possible. They're just lying out their butts. Because every pregnancy book I've read that I bought from a store, or from a reputable store like Barnes & Noble or the library itself, says the same thing. Because I still got the book I showed you before. So I can't help it, the facts seem to support Patrick possibly being mine. I didn't even know you would get pregnant under those circumstances anyway. But to assume I wouldn't care is just being a cold ass bitch towards me, and shows how prejudiced you were towards me and why you didn't commit to me anyway, which is why I cheated on you with Michelle anyway. And wrote you a breakup letter and told you all that shit. Now, I'm pretty sure I told you why I broke up with you too. Had everything to do with I couldn't make it back and forth between the Georgia and Virginia anymore because of my car breaking down and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure I gave you a good Dear John letter too. And did I contact you or write you anymore? One time, and that's when I found out you were with Scott, because I sent you a letter from Stafford to find out what was going on. And see if you moved on. And easily, unlike with me and you and Bart, or Steve or whatever, and you moved on real quick like we're already living with this guy. So what you talking about? Did I ask you to contact me 3 years after the fact? And even tell me that shit? No. Is Scott staying with you only because he still thinks Patrick is his? And is that what you're trying to protect, your marriage? I don't know. Like I said, I ain't heard a word from you since then. All I'm doing is putting up videos talking about my past and everything you told me from my past. Including about Patrick and all that shit too. Which I didn't want to know either if you thought he was Scott's. So why did you even call me to tell me that shit? And what do you expect me to do once I found out? Just sit there or utterly bye? That's why I started paying you child support, because I wasn't sure what the hell was going on. All I was trying to do there is showing you if he was mine, I'll take care of him. If he's not, fine. Stay with, Scott. That's all you can do in that situation anyway, crazy. If you're thinking all that shit. Because I was never obsessed with you. I was just telling you we had coincidences and stuff like that, or signs, or whatever you want to call them, or omens, or whatever you want to call them. And maybe I was trying to warn you about something like this happening. I don't know. because of also the way you're treating me, and using Bart as an excuse to not be with me. But funny how within 3 months or 4 months after being with me, Bart let you go to marry Scott, right? Right. And you told him you were pregnant by Scott, and he just let you go and marry Scott, right? Right. No qualms there. But he wouldn't let you be with me, and what, he wanted you to get pregnant by me or something? No. So that told me you were just using me for sex, and when you thought the baby was Scott, you were happy and married him. So I'm still saying, fuck off. I know what the fuck you're saying, but I didn't want to even know. Didn't ask you to call me. Did I? Don't even care. But you're being a royal bitch and even telling me and expecting me not to at least investigate what the fuck you're even talking about. And that's your cold-hearted snake ass, bitch ass attitude towards me the whole time we were dating. And that's why I broke up with you anyway. I knew you didn't love me. I knew you weren't committed to me. And we're using Bart and Steve as an excuse to buffer me from you. You didn't want to be with me. And so what if I accepted that and said, well, fuck the signs. You don't believe in them. You're calling them coincidences anyway, so bye, bitch. And, I'm saying that now because I mean it. And see, loving someone is like the song, he stopped loving her today. They placed a wreath upon his door, but soon they'll carry him away. He stopped loving her today. That's an old song my mom taught me. Merle Haggard, I think, used to sing. And the point there is, I'm not infatuated with you. I'm trying to love you. And meaning, when I was writing you, I was telling you that too. And if you keep treating me right, we can be together. If you keep treating me wrong, I'll break up with you. And over Bart. Now, it ain't because you were cheating on me with Bart. It's because you were giving Bart what I wanted from you, and me what Bart. You were giving Bart what I wanted from you, and me what Bart wanted from you. You were doing the ass backwards, right? Bart wanted the sex, and I wanted a relationship, and without a lot of sex. And I don't know why you don't understand that shit. I'm a Christian who thinks he's one of the two witnesses trying to find a girlfriend to marry me. Now, that's what I was explaining to you about the signs. Not because I wanted to get you pregnant or expected to get you pregnant either. It's called breakup sex when you do that with a girl. What that means is I had sex with Michelle, had sex with you two, to sort of cement the end of the relationship, right? Then I told you about it 2 weeks later, differently than Bart did too. See, Bart told you after he cheated on you and didn't have sex with you again, and so I kind of considered that a just payment to you for how you're treating me all that time. See, I knew your whole story about you and Bart, so I said, well, why don't you just fuck Michelle and, fuck Maribel and break up with both of them and end this shit. Because both of you were on birth control pills, so I didn't expect either one to get pregnant. And I saw Michelle 6 months later, so she was fine. She didn't have a baby. So I didn't expect you to have a baby either. And like I said, when you were with Scott, I was happy for you. You moved on. You found someone you can be with. You done moved in with him. Yay! Bye, Michelle. Bye, Maribel. And Michelle. I broke up with both of you. Now, that don't mean, she couldn't have been pregnant at all, but she never told me she was. So what can I do about it? They're saying there too. Now, if Michelle had a daughter raised her all by herself, that's on her too. But why would she do that? I don't know. But like I said, if you don't tell me something, I don't know something until you tell me, right? All right. And when I broke up with you, I moved on from you. I dated 2 other girls, Denise and Michelle. I was with when I was with you, but I also dated another girl named Denise before you even called. So I was moving on from you. I don't know what you mean. I met her off of Abercorn when I was taking little Roddy to see one of his doctors. Me and her hit it off, and she stayed with me for a few weeks, and we had sex too. So I was over you. Then you called me in 2000 and tell me all that shit after I got on disability. I didn't know if you were calling for money or what's going on. And that's why I said, well, give me a DNA test so we can find out. And you said, well, I have one with Scott, but he says it's not his. Well, Well, then if it's not his, it's mine. And then he said, well, no, it's not yours. And that's when I said, well, thank you. Hang up on you. Because again, you don't want it to be my child. And, if you know it's not Scott's, and I was the only one you were with, well, who else could it be? Miles? Your stepdad? Or Bart's or Steve's? I mean, those are the only two people I knew you were hanging around. Bart because of your mother, and Miles because of your mother, and Bart and Steve because those were the two guys see you around. Of course, you could have had sex with a third party, and again, I'm not saying you didn't. So what am I doing? Telling you the truth and Scott the truth too. So if Scott, you already had a DNA test or not, and Patrick is yours, fine. If he's not yours, well, he could be mine. That's all I know. If he's not mine, he could be someone else's if she don't want to be mine. But if you're dealing with me and you, pretty slim odds there. So that's all I can say about that. That's reality, Mary Bell. That's not the get you back. That's not the say I want you back. And yeah, there's residual love in all of my relationships. Even for Sheena, though, she started treating me badly herself. And that's the point there. Sheena started treating me badly for no reason. All I was doing was writing her and telling her good things about my life. And how I was raised in Georgia, and my dad was murdered when I was 12 and stuff like that. Other than that, I don't know what else I could have said to her to offend her either. I started talking about her fasting like I did for 3 days, but that was more optional. And, if the Lord spoke to her back, I thought she got mad because I heard from the Lord that we should get married in Jerusalem anyway. So I ain't heard from her either, unless y'all are all three attacking me, you, Daphne, Sheena, and Mary Bell. But like I said, I moved on from all of you. So what do you want from me? If you want me to find another girlfriend, well, I'm not a fast dater, and I have a hard time dating when I'm, with females, because like you, they all act crazy. They either are too finicky or too meow cat-like, and don't choose me, or if they do choose me, they get pissy if things don't work out their way too, like Maribel or Sheena, and I don't know what I could have done differently with either one, or if I did anything anyway to deserve that treatment. But all I know is I was trying to hang in there in case I got Sheena pregnant first, right? Then Daphne, I knew I got pregnant, and then Maribel, I just broke up with her because she was hanging out with Bart more than me, or Steve more than me, and I was a little bit jealous of that, and tired of that, because that told me she didn't believe in the signs. Her coincidence means she didn't give a shit about it. Well, I respected that decision, and I broke up with you and cheated on you with Michelle. Then had breakup sex with you after Michelle, and went on. Then about a year or two later, I met Denise. And then after that, I was with Molly. Now, did I, think that would get you pregnant? No. Did someone, do something with your birth control pills, like Steve or Bart, I don't know. But other than that, there could have been a pharmaceutical mix-up. Sometimes I heard recently that they put the sugar pills in a different order than the other pills, and they were worried some women could get pregnant or something. I don't know. But that was on the news a day or two ago. And anything can happen, and a mess up like that. And if you take your pills differently or out of order or whatever, or they put them out of order, you never know. You never know. But it would be a pharmaceutical mess up if you got pregnant. And that's what I mean. Wasn't even expecting you just because I cheated on you with Michelle anyway, and you on birth control pills for you to get pregnant. And that don't even sound logical to me. I don't know. And was it something I expected? Was it something I even wanted to hear from you about 3 years later, and you telling me this crazy story about Patrick being 4 pounds 9 ounces? Not if he was 2. And then you developed him from there, and you lied about him being 4 pounds 9 ounces. Fine. He's not mine. He's not mine. But if he's 4 pounds 9 ounces, he's not Scott's. And if I was the only one you were with between then and then, he could be mine. More than 99.9% chance, you know what I mean, DNA test wise. Because unless you were with someone from September 28th to October 21st, which that gives you a 3-week window, because Patrick was a little underdeveloped to be mine too, I know, but only by about half a pound. I know. He should have been more like 5 full pounds versus 4 pounds 9 ounces as well. I know. Maybe 5.5. I know. But if you took birth control pills the whole time, that does slow down his development and would explain the pound difference too. I know. So what can I tell you? That's medical knowledge based upon birth control pills, how it affects the development of the fetus, which I read in a book from the library when I was looking into it. And I also researched it on the internet, and I got another book now. What do you want me to tell you? I don't know. Don't give a shit. You can raise Patrick with, Scott. Fine. Go ahead. I don't care. If you don't want to know he's mine, I'm not saying he is. I know. But I'm telling you by the facts you gave me, maybe. Because, see, I don't back down from a fight, bitch. And if you want to fight me over this shit, get a DNA test with me. Only solution to this is a DNA test, Scott, asshole. If you're having a problem with it. Same with you, Mary Bell, if you are. So what the fuck's the problem? All we gotta do is get a DNA test and this shit is over. Bye-bye. I'll never talk to you again if you don't mind. If he is mine, well, whatever. I can maybe help raise him from here on out, but whatever. That's all I would do is be his biological dad. If I'm his biological dad. Like I told you before, if I'm his sort of stepdad, because it was close to conception. Though, again, that's my true sarcasm. Now, like I told you, I'm not trying to get you back. And that virgin bullshit, that I wouldn't be with you and stuff like that, I'm messing with you. And being with marrying more than one woman, I don't know that. I was talking monogamy. Supposed to marry one. And it was Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve or Adam and Eve either. Unless they had sex with Satan, who was a hermaphrodite. Then it was Adam and Eve, because within Satan. And then it was Adam and Steve within Satan as well. And he could have butt fucked him and pour him a new asshole. Which means why Adam had shame after he had sex with Satan. See what I mean? Because Satan didn't do it in love, he did it in lust and to defile Adam's tabernacle, because he knew that was the only way he could do it was through sex. Understand that, people? That's why we're in the mess. This mess, Satan tricked Adam into having anal sex with him, and it's not about homosexuality where you're in love either. But it is about rape, because Satan sort of beguiled both Eve and then Adam into doing it, and may have given Adam a little of his stuff to get his stuff. Know what I mean? Because, it's got to be a fair trade, even with Adam. You want me to do something with you, you first got to show me it's okay with you. Because I never done that before, right? Now, he might have done the same with Eve, and she sort of talked him into it too. Both Satan and Eve talked Adam into having sex with Satan, and he agreed to it, and he too ate of the tree's fruit. Now, with androgynous angel, it would be the penis going into his butt, like the Gnostics suggest, with the angel Nos, and he treated him like a boy in Greek mythology, Greek society, where the boy was sometimes raised under a man's tutelage who would have sex with him, and he was his little plaything. Now, this was back before we came up with pedophilia and stuff like that too. But we know that shit now too. That means if you're gay, you cannot touch young boys under the age of 18. And you gotta leave them alone until they reach 18. Then all hell can break loose. And I don't care what you do with each other. Just leave me out of it because I'm a heterosexual male. That's the whole point. And see, this little scar is something I got from the Yichu River because I was trying to get up one day and I put my hand into the sand. There's some glass and it got my hand. But anyway, that's another scar I got. And then from the car accident, you can still see those scars. Or something else happened and they tried to cover it up with the car accident. Because like I said, the problem with the car accident is I had no chest injury. And not only when someone attacks you with a weapon like a baseball bat or a metal pipe, and they're trying to attack you with some kind of weapon, of course you're not gonna expect that, and they're gonna want to cover it up with a car accident anyway. You know what I mean? Make it seem like you were in a car accident or something. Now the thing about these kind of things is forensic science and don't work that way. Like on the forensics files on HLN. Now when they investigate serious crimes like murder, they always do DNA profiles and stuff like that. And they also know if someone was murdered or not and stuff like that, or died in a car accident or something like that. Well, the only problem with this little theory is unless my chest itself, with, like I told you before, an Oldsmobile has a steering wheel, like any car, next in front of the seat, right? All right. And the passenger side has nothing, right? But the steering wheel would have what? If I went into the windshield and was seat belted, that means the seat broke off and I went into the windshield and I also went into the steering wheel. But I had no chest injury. Now the nurse did point out to Marceline that I had a nice chest. Well, she might have been pointing that out for a reason. Meaning, why isn't there a chest injury? That's what I mean, Marceline. The steering wheel, when it goes into your chest, that's what kills someone on the dead man's curve. Yeah, little Roddy wasn't injured at all, so it has to do with him and Vivian. And making it to their house. That's where he wanted me to drop them off. Now, if someone was there and they started the fight initially, or I don't know, but I can figure out who it might could have been. Or I met Sonia on the way and she wanted me to stop back by or something, and even then though I think I would have called you or something, but I don't know. It all depends. Though she was dating Brian at the time, which Brian had dark blonde hair with was about 6'1" to 6'4" and was sort of a stocky guy. I think he had brown hair, because I remember him in the 9th grade picking on me about being gay. Now, of course, I wasn't trying to have sex with Sonia or even really Vivian's daughter either. And unless she wanted to be with me, it was within a certain age difference, I wouldn't have been with her either. Now, Sonia would have if she was having problems with Brian or something, but that depends too. I don't know. On what was going on, if we talked about it, and if we decided to have sex or not as well. I know Sonia lived down that road, and I know Roddy was want me to drop him off at Vivian's, but what else could have happened? And why else would he attack me if something came up like that, or Vivian herself? Because, unless she wanted me to meet the girl or something, or thought I was with the younger girl too, on that one, what's going on? Of course, I think she might have had 2 daughters, but I wouldn't have been with the older one anyway. So, and like I said, even if the younger one sort of acted like she liked me too, I would choose one or the other. I'm more monogamous, and I'm sure I'd explain that to little Roddy. And Vivian herself, if she had a problem with that. So other than that, I don't know what could have happened. Because the car wreck is missing a chest injury, and that's why the nurse pointed out to you, Marceline, he's got a nice chest. Well, that's because the chest should have been fractured and broken in half, which is why you died in a car accident at Dead Man's Curve. That's probably what happened to the first person who was at Dead Man's Curve too. But that means little Roddy purposely wrecked the Oldsmobile, not me. And he could have done that with a brick or something and run it off the cliff, run it off the embankment. And it ain't that he had a license, Marceline, But he could have done that shit and then bring me down to put me in the ambulance. And I don't know if Vivian had a car, but if they had the Oldsmobile, they could have drove it down there with me in the back seat or something, and then wreck the car. Get me out, wreck the car. Him and her working together, and then put me in the car, seatbelt me, and maybe put my hand in the glass windshield or something after the glass broke. Because this seems more like a setup, especially with the neck injuries. And they said I have only a lock facet of the C2 and C3 then, Maribel. And, I'm blacking out more, and I'm still taking my medication, but this is getting crazy. And so either Scott has a problem with Patrick possibly being mine and don't want to give me a DNA test, which will solve the fucking problem, assholes. And I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you. I don't know. It's not that I care or can do anything about your relationship now. I don't care. I don't know. I'm blessing you. I don't know. In other words, I'm saying I'm glad you're together now. I'm not trying to break you up, but I just want a DNA test to find out the truth. I don't know. And if you're happy together, stay together. And of course, I'm trying to find my own girlfriend. But I'm not fast in dating. That's all it means. And that sort of there is a remembrance of Maribel, and I hope she would understand what I just said. Now, the Maribel I thought I knew seemed to want to be with me until about July, and then it sort of fizzled after that. But we were having periodic sex and booty calls at least till then. So. Yeah, sometimes I would sort of imitate her and impersonate her a little bit when we were having sex. And sort of sound feminine more than masculine, but masculine too. So because the reason I did that was little Roddy brought up a girl when me and Joey were spending the night. And Joey slept on the top bunk and not at the bottom. And he brought a girl over there and he was fucking her. And we can hear him, sounding like the female and stuff like that. And he was getting real loud. And then I woke up and anyway. Now he also brought home a redhead off the streets when I was living at the trailer at Main Street. I think that was 138E. And then I moved to 195A. And then 185A. Right, so that. Or 165A. That was when I also was trying to help David out after I got on disability to get a car and stuff like that. And again, trying to do the best I could for him, but that didn't work out either like I wanted to. Sorry, Dave. So what else can I say? Sorry about angels, sorry about men, whatever's going on there, and sorry you're having a hard time, and I hope your disability works out too. But like I said, I don't know what the hell is going on with y'all people. Because I know, growing up, did I used to say I hear voices, David? No. Did I used to say I'm one of the two witnesses? No. I never even mentioned that to y'all. Did I? I didn't start mentioning it until Christian Fellowship Church. Right? Right. And that's what I mean, David. They might have messed with my mind enough to where I don't, know what I'm talking about anymore, but that's because I started reading the Bible on my own, independently of what everyone else was teaching me to. And I learned things in there that they don't want to talk about. That's all. So what can I say? That's not bad for a guy, I guess. Oh, close to it. Anyway, I'm working on it. Still can't do it like Mariah. But I'm working on it. And if Adam can do it, I can do it too. Adam Lopez. But seems like I'm developing my whistle voice. And might not be as fast as Mariah did, but or Adam. I'm working on it. That sounds more like a whistle. And singing a whistle voice. And pure whistle. Like singing a pure net. No human quality there either. Trying to do Transformers voice, right? Sounds like sort of a cross between a whale and a robot. What I'm doing. Now the reason that I'm doing it slower is I don't want to hurt my voice, but I think I'm cracking the whistle a little bit. But I'm still not quite sure how to access it by my mind alone, and because it's partly in your mind, and that you can do it, and but I'm sort of learning how to do it anew, and after all this time too, and oh. Now, of course, I can do the lower range a little bit better, and I can impersonate her lower range. So I'm working on the whistle. Don't want to force it though. So you gotta find the right part of your throat to access and push your voice through it too. And that's what I'm doing something in a whistle range, and yet I gotta do it in octaves too to match Benny, and so I'm hitting some kind of note, but I'm not sure what it is yet, and so it's in the whistle range, but it's either somewhere between an A or something around a G maybe. I'm not sure. But it is a whistle. It is a whistle voice. So try to go up a little bit. Well,
I need to do it, Dodo. Okay.
mm-hmm.
They laugh, they laugh. They laugh. They laugh. You can tell, but I mean, you matter.
Mm-hmm. Soon we'll be done with the trouble of the world, trouble of the world, trouble of the world. Soon we'll be done with the trouble of the world. God, hope to live with God no more. We've been away no more. We've been away no more. We've been away. God to live with God. Now, that was a song we sung in choir for our competition. So African American spiritual. Mm-hmm. And I'm proud to be an American where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend us till today. Well, there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. I think that was one of the ones we did. Now, Mr. Bubbles wasn't too much on traditional Christmas songs, and we did have a holiday type thing for winter, if I remember correctly, but I forgot some of the songs was on there. But anyway, we had a sort of a winter thing for around Christmas, and then we have competition in the spring before we graduated. We always got straight superiors. So you got to push the air through the upper whistle, and I'm hitting it, but I got to do it knotless. So I'm working on that too. I'm hitting somewhere between an A and a G, maybe an E. I don't know. Might be a little lower than minis. I know, but it's at least F in the C, D, or E range. I'm not sure. I don't know. Alright, well, it's about 11:41, so I need to quit singing on the mic, and don't want to wake up the neighbors anymore. So, I'm gonna let this video, it's about an hour long, so have a great evening, talk to you later, bye bye.